Yo guys, so I was doing some one-on-one mastering training with the client yesterday because I have this service where I teach people how I do my mastering, and I've actually been super busy mastering already the beginning of this year. If you see me drop my video output, then you'll know the reason why. So basically, my client was telling me that he'd done some other mastering courses before, and I think that's completely fine, because you want to use the internet and find different approaches and then find sort of the best thing that works for you. And I think that mastering can be done in many different ways, so the way I do it is going to be very different to the way someone else does it. I will say though that I've had really, really good feedback, genuinely, the last few years. I've basically had very, very little, almost never needed to do any revisions. Every time was the client was already satisfied the first time, because I've just kind of got really good at it. But I teach how I do my mastering, and I teach the concepts, and I give a demonstration on how I actually do it. And my sort of philosophy and concepts are probably completely against the grain. I'd say probably going against 99% of other random mastering engineers on the internet. But there's a few mastering engineers I know within drum and bass who would probably do a similar style of mastering. And the reason how I came to adopt my style of mastering was basically because I used to actually pay, and sometimes I got through publishing, I got free mastering services from professional mastering engineers. And no joke, every single time they completely ruined the dynamics of my track. They absolutely destroyed it. and that's why I eventually started thinking I can do a better job of this myself, because I don't want my track to be ruined that way. And one of the main ways that they would actually ruin it would be basically by over limiting it. And so when I teach my mastering process, clients will often be surprised that I don't use a limiter at all. And I'm not joking, I've not used a limiter in my production process from mixdowns or mastering for 7 years. I don't use them at all. And the reason why is because my goal is always to preserve the dynamics. So I'm much more into spectral shaping and clipping to zero with a bit of colouring distortion to shave off the peaks and use that as the ceiling, rather than actually limiting and sacrificing the dynamics. Because I think when you sort of shave the peaks off with a clipper, you kind of introduce a tiny bit of distortion colouring, but you preserve the dynamics a lot better. And so that's kind of built into my philosophy when I'm mastering. And you'll also find that if you guys ever do the training, I share loads of things on how I do my spectral shaping, and how I get the volume to be still basically as loud as a limited master, but without limiting, right? Because the reason why I don't like limiting is because by nature, limiter reduces the dynamic range, So what you need to realise that when you're using a limiter is that you're reducing the dynamic range completely, right? I'm just spinning around so I don't get people in the background of my video. So why would you use it if you wanted to preserve the dynamics? I'm all about preserving the dynamics. I'm cold, I'm going to keep this short, but big ups to my client who booked the one-on-one mastering training. I highly recommend it if you haven't done it before. I'll be doing it for the rest of this year. I'll be teaching people how I do my mastering alongside while I'm doing mastering for other people as well. Anyway, much love to you, G. This is just a short one today, but basically I'm just here to tell you that you do not actually need to use a limiter at any point in your production process or at any point in your mastering process if you don't want to, and you will find that you can still get loudness without sacrificing dynamics, which is what a limiter actually does. It reduces the dynamic range. So bear that in mind. Alright, all the resources are down below. Chat to you guys in Discord. Much love.